Divine greetings, entities, energies, lovelies, bodies of light, like that light right there, the seekers and sojourners of truth, the 144, chosen of the chosen few. You know who you are. I greet you in the love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. I am Celestial Earth in this divine energy essence of it all. Reporting to you live from none other than 5D, the fifth dimension, in the place to be, as always. So, with that, I'm just loving this full moon vibes right now. I can just sit out here. I'm about to start this fire and have a nice little fireplace. But with that, as usual, I bring you the news to infuse, if you so choose, to infuse with the light. Get on this light grid activation. Get this fifth density light that's coming through my star seeds, my 5D people, those of us who are entering into the Aquarian age, all of that good stuff, all the light warriors and light bodies. Activate this activation time. I know it might not feel like it for some because super lunar eclipse, full moon in Pisces is piping. So with that said, let me say to you, happy full moon in Pisces. And as I was saying about the grid, as usual, I can't leave this out, because if you ain't doing the work right about now, you getting fried on the grid. And I know some people feeling it. Just in our workshop alone tonight, it was like, oh, we all was getting hit. As I say, and I had to remind us, the full moons are usually most potent 3 days before, 3 days after. It's very, very potent when it's in the middle, when it's on the peak, on the day of, more potent, right? And with that, add to that super moon, which super moon just means the moon is closer to us. So the energies are a bit more stronger. The energies exchange between us. We're actually feeling it a bit more. So it's like that super moon. So that's already super plus. Then we have the eclipse. An eclipse, whether it's a full moon or new moon, an eclipse is like a full moon on steroids. It's like pow, pow. So we getting a double pow pow. Super moon, eclipse, and it's on the peak. So today was just one of those days. One of those days. All right, so I want to go into what this moon is about, the Chiron complex, and the, I want to say, futuristic thrust of the North Node in Pisces. And I'm going to explain to you why I'm calling it a futuristic thrust. Right, so let me get all comfortable and whatnot and get in there, because this is some juicy stuff. Like, I am just tickled pink with this full moon in so many ways, for so many reasons, because of the ecliptic window, because of the three outer planets in their final degrees, because of specifically Pluto, the window of Pluto in Capricorn between now and November, and having this ecliptic opportunity in between, right, to really take us to where we need to go. So, and I really am appreciating this vibe of the moonlight with me. Are y'all feeling the light? Get some of that moonlight as the moon beams on me. Let me just send it to you. All right. So let me get right into Chiron. I got my notes. I didn't want to miss out on nothing, because it's some stuff that's been really hitting. And I want to go straight into the Chiron complex as we talk about this beautiful, super full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces at 25 degrees. And that in itself is something else. The numbers also are speaking about manifestation. The 25 degrees with the 2 and the 7, excuse me, the 2 and the 7 is, I'm saying 2 and 7, 2 and 5, excuse me. The 2 and 5 is 7, right? So we have a code number of 7 going on, not just from the degrees of the moon and the sun being at 25 degrees, but also the code number for the day. If you add the numbers up for the day, the date of being the 17th 9/17/2024, it will add up to 25. Again, 7. So we're getting this double knock, 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 7. And 7 is a return to completion or manifestation. So I kind of look at it, I know this is not a manifestations with the new moon. I usually do it the new moon, but this full moon is echoing something about what has been manifested or what we're manifesting, as in completion. Really hearing the echo of completion. So I rather look at it more as a return to completion, which is a manifestation. When you reach a return to completion, then that automatically is a manifestation, right? It's synonymous. So the return to completion is returning. It's like I kind of look at it, I'm hearing the word return like receipt, like your receipt. Where's your return receipt? So what's the receipt saying? What have you been doing, and what's that receipt saying? Here's your return of completion. Here is your receipt, right? And obviously that means something has been purchased or manifested. So that receipt is proof of your manifestation. And it's what has been, I want to say, manifested in your activities, in your life, world, and affairs. What has been showing up, that is the completion. We are coming to an end of it. This completion has this tone of things coming to an end. That's why a lot of us have been feeling that, and I've been saying it. You've been feeling tired of some things, and it's really at its peak. You probably really peaked it today. Pay attention to how you've been feeling if some stuff has been coming up, because it's coming to show you. It's like, here, this is what you're tired of, so rather than complain about it or whatever it may be, which I know that's our natural reaction, I'm inviting us to take a deeper look and say and see what this is saying to you. Where needs to be changed? What are you tired of? And look in your chart where it's lining up. These 3 outer planets are closing some things out. So wherever these outer planets are in your house, where they are in your natal chart, if you look where your natal Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and even Chiron, as I'm going to speak about Chiron, even Chiron, look at where those major, those outer planets and slower moving planets are in your natal chart, and what house they are in, your house. And that will tell you where you need to be looking, right? That will tell you what is having a drastic facelift, a drastic change, where you are saying, I'm not doing this no more. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't resonate. And it's the end of that. So there's your completion right there. There's your return to completion. And you're looking at what has been manifested that is no more, so that you can now see what needs to manifest, what next, right? So that's what I call like the true death to rebirth type of transformation that is happening, which again involves Pluto. We are in that window of Pluto and Capricorn. So death to rebirth. What's been manifested, you don't need it no more. Now what needs to be manifested? Now what do we need to plant after we've pulled up? Speaking of planting, those who may have seen the video that I did in the garden, it's that exact example. You pull up something that no longer belongs there. This is dead. It's the limbs are dry. That's it. We're not getting nothing from it. No nutrients. Pull it up, get it out of there. Now there's some space right there to plant something else. What are you going to plant? And we can't bring something new in if we don't remove the old. So it's kind of like that, right? So that's that on the 7/7, the manifestation. All right, let me get into Chiron. I was supposed to start with Chiron, and then the numbers just jumped right in. It's like, tell them about the 7. Tell them about the 7. So, look out for that. The Chiron complex. Ooh, this is so sweet to me. Chiron. How does Chiron play a part? And this is really important. I don't hear many people talking about it. And so when I came across it, I was like, why is nobody saying? I was like, you know what? Let me give it to y'all. So the Chiron is the ruler of Virgo. Let's put the pieces together. Chiron rules Virgo, right? And Chiron is now in Aries. Aries is where our north nodes are, right? And so this is bringing, what it's doing is it's bringing the unhealed wounds to the surface, basically. And why I say that, because the sun in Virgo is the outer world. It's what's happening in our outer world. The moon is the inner world, the sun is the outer world, and they are in opposition right now. But it is to bring harmony and balance. They're opposing because they're reflecting. The moon is doing the reflection because it's reflecting the sun's light. So it's reflecting what has been happening in the outer world. So again, as I say that, it's also reflecting what have we been doing in the outer world for the past, since the past 6 months, right? 6 months ago, we were in Pisces. This is a reflection of Pisces, of in that Pisces area, which makes perfect sense. Again, it's also a reflection of where we were with the last lunar eclipse, which was at the end of March, right? Just closing out Pisces and just entering into to Aries. However, let me slow this down a bit, bring it home so we really see how Chiron ties in and how major it is on a bigger scale. Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron represents the wounded healer. So even as it sits in Aries, it is asking us to look at some unhealed wounds in our individual self, right? Aries is about the individual, the ego type self. And so even beyond that, it's asking us to look at unhealed wounds from the age of the ram. And I've mentioned this before, which was about 4,000 years ago. That's the age before the Piscean age, which we just came out of. Ages last about 2,000 years. So about 4,000 years ago, we were going through the age of the ram. So Chiron being where it is now, and it's been here for, we got about 1 more year while it's there, it's highlighting. And this is what's being activated right now with these codes, these angles of light, because Chiron is the ruler of Virgo, and Virgo right now is having the opposition with the moon. These are the codes that are, popping up right now and being activated. So where are the wounds? If Chiron, which it is the wounded healer, the wounds are showing up in the outer world. So as we're dealing with this ecliptic arena right here, this full moon in Pisces, it's highlighting some wounds. And that's why for some of us it may feel a little annoying, a little icky, but it's okay. It's to bring up the unhealed wounds, and it's bringing it to the surface. And not only just our wounds to the surface, it's bringing up the collective wounds, the family collective, the community collective, the global collective, humanity's collective is bringing all of that up. Because we have to remember there are collective imprints in the earth, right? There are collective imprints even from the age of the ram that still exist here. And that's what a lot of us are battling with. We don't recognize it, but that's why sometimes it feel like can't get right, right? Like we know what we know, but we still just doing the same old. On a whole, collectively. I'm not speaking individually. Of course, individually, a lot of us are on our own different journeys, but collectively, it's like, and that's why sometimes it looks like it's not going nowhere, but it's getting there. We just have to be patient. As I say, each one reaches one and teach one. So each one of us that light up our candle, each one that becomes another light warrior and do our soul work individually, it starts to affect the collective. So the Chiron complex is us really getting an opportunity to look at our wounds. So this moon is also, as it's reflecting what's happening in the outer world, sun ruling Virgo. So the outer world is really like, what's going on out here with Chiron? It's being brought to the light. It's not just in the inner world, it's being brought to the light the whole time that we're in this season of Virgo season. So a lot of us have been feeling it, and I've been talking about it. Not really so deep about the Chiron aspect, but I've been talking about how some of us have been feeling it, especially coming into Virgo, coming out of that intense Leo season with the halls of Amenti and all of that exciting time as well. but very intense. And so now coming into this, as soon as we entered into Virgo, then that kind of activates get your ish together, right? Get your unhealed wounds. So things that are coming up that you may have thought that you dealt with is coming back up because there's still some residue. There's still some stuff we need to go in and clean up, right? So those are the things that are coming up, giving you a chance to get rid of those demons and those unhealed wounds, right? So with that said, excuse the noise that just kicked in. With that said, the next thing I want to go into, faithfully that goes in, I think that's about how much I had for Chiron. I feel like there's more, but Spirit will bring it back when it's time. The ecliptic moon in Pisces. This is the North Node, the futuristic thrust that I was talking about with the North Node. The ecliptic moon in Pisces is a futuristic thrust or preview into the North Node in Pisces, which is changing in January. That's why I say futuristic thrust, because the nodes are right now, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people notice either with the eclipse. The nodes will be changing in January. Why am I saying that? Because, let me explain it to you this way. With the eclipse, for those who don't know, some people may know, true cosmologists will know. The nodes in lunar eclipse, all eclipses are in tune with the nodes and the nodal axis. So it depends on where the nodes are. So like right now, the nodes are in Aries and Libra. That's why the last eclipse was in Aries and Libra. And usually it would be that way again, but the way that we had a lunar reset, so now where the full moon falls, it's in the sign just right before it with this full moon. But the new moon will be aligned with the nodes. The new moon will be a new moon in Libra coming up. But right now the full moon is a full moon in Pisces. Usually it would be a full moon in Aries if we didn't have that lunar reset and our full moon was still coming behind the new moon the way it was. It would be in Aries. But right now it's in Pisces. And by it being there, this is not the usual where the ecliptic moon is not in the node that goes with it, if that makes sense. It's not in its ecliptic node. It's not in the lunar nodes. There we go. I was going to say ecliptic. So it doesn't get there until January. So because the North Node won't move into Pisces until January, this is like that futuristic preview or that futuristic thrust of the node and where it's going to be. Alright, so what is this saying? Why am I saying that? It's saying a lot, for one. Because, first off, this eclipse is to be a reflection of where we were 6 months ago. Right? And it still is. Social dynamics. We're looking at social dynamics. And with that said, though, here's what we're going to be looking at in the future. So we're looking at the theme. Let's look at both themes, right? The theme for the Aries and Libra nodes is that North Node trajectory is moving into Aries. So we're looking for our soul sovereignty. That's pretty much the theme. The theme is a social dynamic shift that is changing. So we have to get justice coming from the South Node. Let me say it that way. Coming from the South Node, we're finding justice and balance in the past of the collective, and bringing it forward into the North Node, where we are finding in our individual self our soul sovereignty, right? But doing it in a balanced way means that you're not overthrowing the collective. It's with all due respect to the collective, as I've been mentioning, and respect to yourself. That's the harmony, that's the balance. Not overcompensating yourself for the collective, and also not stepping on the collective just to be in your selfish needs. So it's finding that balance, right? That's been the theme. The theme for the next nodes, and I know this is a topic for speaking about nodes on a whole nother topic, but I feel like for connection, understanding purposes, I have to give it now a little bit. The theme for the upcoming nodes, Pisces and Virgo, is going to be coming from the South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces. And so the South Node is going to be calling for coming out of finding practicality, right? Checking back in our South Node, how are we living in our practicality, in living in the earth, orderly. You know, Virgo is about being meticulous and in order and things like that. And coming from that, but in a balanced way, right? Not over meticulous or overly critical or anything like that, but in a balanced way of understanding true practicality and bringing that into the North Node trajectory of Pisces, being more spirituality. So bringing that true practicality into the spiritual essence of existence. That's what I had noted. Yes. So there will be, with this, the theme will be bringing a renewed sense of practicality into the spiritual essence of existence, of how we're existing. And that's to help bring us, again, even more into 5D, more into the new earth, into the new age of Aquarian, the Aquarian age, right? So bringing this, because the spirituality is also the futuristic aspect that we're going into, right? Nothing new, but in a futuristic way. So with that said, this moon is also giving us that little sneak peek, that preview into the Pisces energy, right? Of the Pisces energy of spirituality, kind of calling that forth into us right now in our inner world, because the moon is about our inner world. So bringing it into our inner world of embracing that spiritual aspect of ourselves on a higher level, right? So with the balance of practicality pouring into that, this is what's going to be coming up. So this energy is kind of thrusting us forward into that, giving us a sneak peek through that window of seeing, okay, this is where we're going to be going. But with the understanding of the completion of the social dynamics, right? So there's your completion right there again. Where's your receipt? What are your social dynamics looking like? And that too is going to be affected with going into spirituality in that way, into the new world, into the new ways that we're going to be expressing ourselves. So looking at this futuristic preview of the nodes, it's a big deal, and it's giving us this hint of Pisces that, like I said, it kind of tickles me, just like because also with that is Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, and Saturn in Pisces has been like the popo, like, hey, wait a minute, that's not spirituality. It's been really highlighting the concepts of spirituality and how we see it. Those dynamics have been changing as we move forward, move more into the spiritual house, because Saturn is like the Lord of Karma inside the house of Karma, Pisces, right? And so we're also in a karmic window this whole time that Saturn is in Pisces, and it's funny to me because it's really breaking up a lot of things, a lot of I'm gonna just say it, a lot of things that we thought were spiritual, a lot of places, people, organizations that we thought were spiritual, or they're not of true spirituality, and Saturn is breaking the doors down on that and highlighting them and blowing them up. That's why there's so many like religious upheaval and everything. You're finding out, pastors that are doing all kind of stuff because Saturn is highlighting it for you and be like, no, that's not true spirituality. That's not true spirit. That is not of spirit in truth, right? So with that, we also have Neptune at the end. And Neptune and the moon are pretty close because the moon is at 27 degrees and Neptune is at its 29. No, I believe it's now at 28 degrees. But either way, it's at the end as well. And so there's this like close energy between them. And so with that, the moon in Pisces at 25 degrees is bringing like that 7 is bringing the completion of what has been manifested basically in the inner world in regards to Neptune, right? as it's closing out its cycle, because it's closing out its complete cycle, not just closing out the end of a sign, but its complete cycle through all the houses. It's closing out, right? And therefore it's bringing a true reflection. The moon is bringing a true reflection of what needs to end with the Neptunian illusions, right? So it's helping us to bring those illusions to a conclusion. I gotta choke. I gotta cough on that one. Bringing those illusions to a conclusion. It's like, listen, this is the end of the stop for that. Again, this is one of those 3 outer planets that is ending. Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. And Pluto has been doing its part, bringing all the revelations that we needed, right? Around the same time, since last year, March, it was a major cosmic shift. Because as Pluto entered into Aquarius, Saturn entered into Pisces. So they both was like, boom, revelations, break it up, break it up, break it up. Saturn is like the checkpoint. This whole time while it's in Pisces, it's chin checking everybody in their spirituality. And I mean all of us in our concepts and how we think of spirituality. I'm not just saying other people out there. Let's not just look at other people like, yeah, they shouldn't be. No, we all have to change our concepts, because we all have certain thoughts of how we see spirituality. And now Saturn is breaking it down so much, that simplifying it for us so much, through the revelations of Pisces, and just simplifying, the revelations of Pluto as well, is helping to simplify it for us. No, this is not what it is. So we have to, be willing to break that, have those illusions broken, have those misconceptions broken a little bit, and realize, oh, okay, that's not the true essence of spirituality, right? And this is helping us to right the wrongs. Now that I think of it too, this is helping us to right. Speaking of, let me say it this way, speaking of Chiron coming from the age of the ram, bringing it forward, it's like a trickle down effect. Also with these energies, it's also helping to remove the shadows, not just the shadows of the age of the ram, but remove the shadows of the Piscean age. As I'm speaking about it with you now, that was the next thing I was seeing. It's helping to dust out, like Saturn being there is like dusting it out. No, this is not of true spirituality, which is how the Piscean age got twisted, right? Because that is when the way shower, when Yeshua was coming and showing everyone how to be fishers of men, teaching you how to be fishers of the knowledge for yourself, believers in yourself, where you don't have to follow. Age of the Ram is more of following. You need a leader, you need a shepherd. That's why the old book is always talking about a shepherd leading the way. And when you get more into the New Testament, it's talking more about being a fisher of men, because that's the age where you are now to be have the belief in yourself. And now we're to have the knowing, in the age of the knowing. So I say that to tie that together with the Pisces energy, especially Saturn in Pisces, is really the shakedown in Pisces is helping us to see this is not the true essence of spirituality. So where we went wrong with the shadows of the Piscean age, we're also being given that opportunity. And these are things that we have to do along the way as we enter into the Aquarian age rightfully, in its rightful manner, or else we're going to end up in the shadows of the Aquarian age as well, if we don't take these cues and these hints from the angles of light that are giving us the opportunity to turn it over, to remove from the shadows of those ages. That's why those planets are where they are. Looking at what it's sharing for us, it's like, Pluto is not going, Neptune is not going to be back where it is for another 200 and something years. We're not going to see it in our lifetime. So we're all being given the opportunity to help break these illusions that have been coming from lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. For us in this lifetime, as well as our multiple lifelines through different lifetimes, and as well as expanded to the collective consciousness, as in the old collective imprint that has been here over time after time after time, right? So it's really important that we understand the important role that Chiron plays. And believe me, when you remove your soot off of your soul and you remove the unhealed wounds in you, then collectively we're all removing the unhealed wounds in the we, in the collective, which ultimately shifts us out of the imprints of the age of the ram, the patriarchal rule and all of that that was doing away with our divine feminine. That's why the divine feminine is pouring in right now to help us with that. So this is a major step for us if we utilize this Chiron energy. It's very active right now. Let it activate you right now to go in and inspire you to remove any wounds you need to move. You utilize that while we're in the Virgo season still, the little bit of time we have left. And then don't let it stop there. Continue any chance that you get to utilize while, and especially also while Chiron is with the North Node in Aries until it moves out. And whatever time left we have with Chiron in Aries, I would say utilize it to the best of your ability in going in and unpacking those unhealed wounds. And it would work differently for different people. It'll help at different times depending on what other aspects line up in your chart with Chiron and Aries and so forth, right? So I would utilize this right now. It's helpful for everybody because we are all in the Virgo season, so we're all being activated by that in bringing up these wounds. I invite us to look into that, right? Anything else with that Chiron? Yeah, utilize that Chiron energy. Let's get rid of the age of the ram. And then now, right after that, we're going to be able to look into what shadows from the Piscean age that we can do. And this is just all of us doing our part while we can in this lifetime while we're here. Once this time passes, we just got to pass on the information, and faithfully, the next ones that come up after that, when this opportunity comes again, they'll be able to lift another layer. But we have to pass the baton. Energetically, we got to pass the baton and teach the ones beyond us to keep on passing it. So after that, after the Chiron shifts out of Pisces, like right now we're going to be dealing with out of Aries, sorry, we're going to be dealing with Pisces. And so for the next, from January and the next 18 months, we're going to be dealing with the North Node in Pisces and continuing that same theme that you heard me talking about, right? So faithfully, this has done some help. I felt like I had to get in there and just look in your charts and see where it lights up for you. But ultimately, this is like a general information, the way Chiron is working with all of us, and the way the ecliptic moon in Pisces is giving us that futuristic thrust into where the nodes will be for the following 8 months, beginning in January, when we enter into that next ecliptic season for 18 months, right? And with that, anything lasts. Mercury is in Virgo, and it's highlighting, this was something that also just came up to me, because Mercury is also a ruler of Virgo. It's the older ruler of Virgo, but it's also one of the planets that rules Virgos, and it's highlighting the communication, right? And it's also in its home. Being that it's in its home, it's calling for order in our social dynamics. We are to use the reflection of spirituality in our inner world, which is the moon, to find balance and bring it into harmony in our outer world of communication, which is the sun being in our outer world. So this is what I'm seeing what we're to do in regards to communication, how Mercury being in its home right now, and a lot of us are feeling this with how we're communicating, how we're relating, right? And this is specifically why we need the soul sovereignty in the social dynamics, which is reflected from 6 months ago that I had been speaking about. So this full moon is really bringing, it's packing a lot. I know, y'all, it's a lot. And we really have to look at our social dynamics. It's reflecting where we were 6 months ago in our social dynamics. So how much have you peeled the layers back? Have you gone into your soul sovereignty, or are you still bending to the needs of others? Are you able to be you without trampling on others, or are you being narcissistic? Like, this is also to break down the narcissistic system, right? So those of us who are gaining our soul sovereignty, oh, the system does not like it, because we have a very narcissistic government system, whatever you want to call it. And so this eats away at narcissist personalities, because they want to dominate, right? And so when you become sovereign in your own right, they can no longer control, and it empowers you, right? So, and this is what Pluto does as well, the planet of personal power. But before you get there, this is the work that we got to do, right? We're having a death to rebirth transformation, is the type of revelation that we're having to come into our personal power. You can't be empowered if you don't have the revelations of truth. The truth is what will ultimately set you free and empower you, right? So with that, as well as breaking up the illusions with Neptune and where it is, these are the outer planets I'm bringing it out to, because all of this is intrinsic and all of this affects us, and all the way up to Uranus in its final degrees, that is really empowering us to make the necessary changes, the revolutionary changes that need to be made. And ultimately, with all that I'm saying there, and I may have to do, of course, another video piggybacking or veggie backing on all of this, but with all of that I'm saying there, this is also going to be adding to where our next theme of our nodes is going to be in the practicality. Because if we do what we're supposed to do, taking the revelation, breaking the illusions, making the necessary changes, and breaking from those old constructs, then we're going to change the perspectives of practicality. It's not going to be their practicality, but the practicality, the true practical essence, is what we're going to be bringing into from. So in the South Node, it's going to help us regain the truth of practicality by doing these things that I've just mentioned, individually and collectively, which will then help put us on our northward trajectory for the future node being in Pisces, right? So we got our work cut out for us, and I'm gonna leave it right there. Happy full moon again. This was a full, I just gotta breathe it out, because I just did the workshop, you all, so there's a lot that's been going on in these past few days. So that's why you're seeing the videos very late. I'm doing them in the wee hours, and there's a lot of information, there's a lot of downloads coming, and even while I'm in the workshop more, it's like, oh, I just got to download, I got to notate it and go back to it later. And that's another thing to mention with this full moon in Pisces. It's activating a lot of us with our the intercom is being turned on, right? Our intercommunications have been turned on. Mercury again in the mix, but the intergalactic communication, our abilities are coming online more, and we're going to be getting more downloads and information. So whatever you get, just write it, jot it down, write it down, and apply it to where you can apply it. And the main thing that I would like to remind us to, again, please look at where those planets are in your natal, those outer planets and Chiron in your natal chart, and where it is in your house, in your natal chart. What house is it in? Because that is the house that is being affected. I want to make sure you understand that, so you know where to go, how to find the cosmos in me, because it's all you, boo. It's all you. The universe is you. So, and if anyone needs help, feel free to contact me. I will offer after the workshop, of course, not now. But if anyone wants to do an astrology reading, or have any, I want to say, like, just spiritual guidance, a little added help, and where you're going in the direction and what's going on. A lot of you have let me know, hey, I'm just coming into this. Hey, this is new to me, and I understand that. So if there's something that you need, feel free to reach out. My description is in the link. My description is in the link. My information is in the description below, and you can email me and you can book an appointment with me to go a little bit further into this. You know, you don't got to do it alone. This is why I do this, so that we can connect to those out there who may need it, and you don't have to be alone in this. You know, we're here and we're welcome. We're welcome. Anything else? If you made it this far, thank you, because this was one of the longer videos. If you made it this far, please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment if you dare. Leave some emojis, Pisces emojis, Virgo emojis, Chiron, any other planets you want to leave. If you don't have anything to say, just leave some emojis. Remember, when you do, hit the notification bell. All of that helps the algorithms go and helps to get to other people, continuing to pay it forward so someone else can find this space and community just like you found it. You know, welcome, welcome. Oh, I was waiting on that to go off. My apologies if that was loud as well, but I didn't want to stop and start over and do it again. So we just gonna have to roll with that, right? And I think that's a message in itself. We just need to keep rolling. Things are happening. You may get a distraction. You may get some loud noise in the background. Don't stop and slow down. Just keep going. We ain't got time for that. That's what the energy's saying right now. Look, we don't got time to stop and do it over. No, time is of the essence. Let's go. Divine timing, right? With that, anything else? 5D calendar. Get your 5D calendars at a 5D corner near you, again in the description below. Please remember, Rhonda Calvin, I am, and what was the other one? Rhonda Calvin, Stacy Holder. I'm still waiting and waiting. So with that, each one reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out and be the candle that lights the next one and the next one and the next one. Happy, super, lunar eclipse, full moon to you. Peace, love, and light.